Good morning, good afternoon. How is everybody today? Shane, my man. All right, so let's just jump into it. So someone asked me last week, what do I think the number one thing that all agents should be doing? I'm like, this is wow. I'm like, this is a very loaded question. And I said, actually, it's the one thing that everyone should be doing, and it's the one thing that nobody's doing. Pretty interesting, right? And it's actually practicing, right? Practicing these conversations you need to have with people. Because the reality is, if you don't know how to have conversations, how effective are you really going to be at your job? Think about this logically, right? So I'm just going to come in hot today and take your pen and piece of paper out and write down what the average number of a commission check is for you. Just put it down. When you do a closing, just do GCI. We don't have to worry about splits or anything else like that. What is your average check? 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. What's the number? You don't have to share it either. Now, simply take that number and multiply it by 3. That is how much money you are losing every year because you don't practice. Now multiply that number by 10. So if your average check is $15,000, you're losing at least $45,000 a year because you don't know how to practice. Multiply that by 10, you've lost $450,000 from today and over the next 10 years because you have not practiced simple conversations that you're going to have with people forever. There's certain required skills that you have. There's certain things in this business that are timeless. When you're in a competitive market where properties are selling themselves, literally, do you think it's important to understand how to answer commission objections? Right? So for everyone who just hopped on, we're talking about the actual lifetime value of skills. And if you backdated, if you've been doing this 10 years, you've been losing this much money retroactively, right? But you had plausible deniability, right? No one ever talked about this stuff. So if you think about it, how do we get better? How do we beat people? How do we get ahead? Right? Yes, market share is a wonderful thing, but also understanding how to give people a better experience. So remember, 15 minutes a day, 300 times a year, that's 75 hours you'll practice that most people never will in their lives. So here's my question to everybody. If I met you and I said to, let's see, Anne, I said, Anne, I really appreciate you coming over here. I love what you said about my home and how you market it. But properties are kind of selling themselves. And Brooke from Redfin said she would do it for 3.5%. And you're charging 5. Or let's just say that she would do it for 4 and you're charging 5. What would you say? Everyone write their answer in the chat. I met with Brooke yesterday from Redfin. I love what she had to offer and she did it at 4%. Would you do it at 4%? What do you say to somebody? Did I stump all of you? When someone asks you and they say a person from another company would do it for less, what do you say? We really like you, Jamie, but Chirag from Redfin said he would do it for 1% less. Can you match that? What do you say? Why? What makes me nervous? I see a bunch of you that have your screen on and no one's saying anything. I charge the quality of my service. Can you tell me about Brooke's marketing plan? Come on, a couple more answers. Don't be shy. We have a full service realty team. Okay, so now let's take a couple notes. Okay, so number one, write this down. Telling equals convincing, which equals no sale. Telling equals convincing. People do not want to be told into things, right? Telling equals convincing, which equals no sale. It's not happening. Think about how often you've ever gotten these objections like, hey, I have a great team. And do you like, my favorite one is if someone's willing to give away their money that easy, what do you think they're going to do for your home? Like, that's just crazy. Like these things, you have to get rid of all these things, right? And you have to realize an objection, write this down, an objection equals a concern dash question. That's all it is. It's a concern or a question in somebody's mind. That's all. It's nothing more, nothing less. So when you get good at doing this, Anne, right, someone's going to give you this objection, you're going to smile and you're going to be like, got him, right? Because when you say got him, they're either your client or they're not your client, or you need to make a business decision. Those are the only outcomes, right? So the other thing you want to write down, whoever is asking the questions controls the conversations, controls the conversation. But Angela, even if I've demonstrated all my value, how many times have you clearly shared your value, or you thought you shared your value, and they still come back with this? Because there's perceived value, what you feel you offer someone, and actualized value, what they feel they're actually getting for you. The person who has the most perceived value in a seller's mind will win the transaction. You can only actualize value after you work with somebody, right? So whoever asks all the questions controls the conversation. So if I was talking to Deanna and she says, you know, Chirag, I really appreciate it. And Brooke from Redfin said that she would do it at 4%. I would turn around, I'd smile. So I hear what you're saying is you want to get the most equity out of your home. And they would say, yeah. So if you're happy with what, I know your time is really valuable. And if you're happy with what Brooke had to say and what she had to offer, what specifically made you want to meet with me here today? Right? And they're going to say, oh, well, this and that and the other thing. Okay. And this is why it goes back to understanding your pitch, right? All of these things lead up to this culmination of this, assuming you did everything else right. So then what you want to start thinking about is, she says, yeah, but we really, really love, Anne, what you have to offer, but we just really want to do it at 4%, right? My house is going to sell really quickly and everything else like that. And I would say, listen, what I hear you saying is you want to get the most equity out of your home. Yes. Great. So how many different things can you focus on at once? Again, that's a trick question, right? One thing. And I would draw on a piece of paper for Homes $1 Million. Look, you know, and regardless of what you decide to do, I support you 100%. And what we find is clients are to focus on one of two things. I draw $1 million out in big letters, and I write, and I draw $10,000 in the small one. We're focused on maximizing your $1 million, and the people that are doing commission are focused on saving the 1%. So are you focused on maximizing your equity or minimizing what you pay in commission? I'm the broker on the top. That's what my focus is. And if you want to go in a different direction, I support you 100%. It's your choice. Are you going to do it for 4%? No. And just sit there quietly. But if you do not practice this, you can never do it. It's not going to happen, right? Now, at any point, did I try explaining my value there? Did I say anything that could have been viewed as combative or offensive? No. Is that something we can all do? Yes, but you have to practice. Listen, I tell people all the time, I am no smarter than anyone else. I actually do dumb things just like everyone else does all the time, right? Like, however, I've done these conversations over and over and over and over and over again. That's the only reason I'm good at it. I was an agent and then I worked at Compass doing this, right? We will give you the written script. We even have videos coming, Darlene, that will show you that you can actually listen to for this. So when I went through this is, when someone says they would do it for less, right? Number one, great. Agree with them. Don't start defensive. Do not get defensive. Great. Shane, I know your time is really valuable. If such and such was willing to do it for 4% and you're happy with your service, Why didn't you hire them? And what specifically still made you meet with me today? And then you sit there in silence, make them answer it. Oh, well, we still wanted to interview people. So you were still looking to see who could ultimately maximize your equity, right? And I'm shifting it back to them. This is just an example of one thing that you could learn. Now, answer this question. If you knew how to answer this question the right way and you learned it in 2022, do you think that you could add onto your career another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $800,000 of clients in the listings that you'd win? Absolutely. So here's what I want everyone to start thinking about now. Now, when you start thinking about scenarios, you need to make them specific. Commission is not a scenario, right? So you have scenarios that say, I know you're going to do one open house. Your house is going to be in the market 3 days. I want you to do it for blank percent. That's an actual scenario. The agent from this company said they would do it for this much. That's another scenario. I want to find a deal in today's market. When I find one, I'm happy to buy a home. That's another scenario. You need to understand where these objections are, what these scenarios are, and you need to write them all down. And then you need to figure out, what do I need to practice to mastery first, right? So if you look in stages of learning, can I tell you about this concept called the learning map that I think you guys all should make? Cool. On the left side, you write down all the things you need to learn, right? And then like commission objections, buyer objections, whatever it is, right? And then is identify need to learn, learning, and mastery. So as you're working on these things, you have a whole map of where you are, right? Let me see if I could actually, bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I can find one of these for you. Here we go. So look, this is a learning map. So this is a skill client risk and report, need to know, does not know how to do and needs to learn. Learning is actively doing and needs additional training to get to mastery, knows how to follow the system and can complete each action to 90% of the time to the desired outcome. You can look at the outcome, applicable catchphrases, right? And this is how you can build out your actual learning, right? Brooke, I'll make a copy and I'll share this with you and we can upload it into there. So are we all clear on how we want to think through our businesses? Okay. Amanda, I see you shaking your head no. Okay, good. Because if you're saying it, there's probably 10 other people thinking it. So what we're talking about here is understanding what are the essential skills, really conversations we need to master having with people, right? What amazes me is if you took the same test in school 12 times a year for 10 years in a row, you would know the answers to the test, correct? Now, agents go through the same test. It's called working with your clients their entire career, and they still don't know the answers. If you've been doing real estate 3 years or more and you don't know all the answers, it's because no one taught you any differently. We're all taught to go after leads, work our CRM, and all those things are important. But in the end of the day, it's still a people's business. I don't call it sales, I call it conversations. So when you go to a car dealership, right, and they show you like the elite SUV model and the base model, and there's like a $40,000, $50,000 difference between the two. And you're like, well, why wouldn't I just buy that one that's only $60,000? Why do I want the one that's $100,000? What's the difference? That's the same thing that somebody's saying to you. You just don't know how to answer the question, right? So if you started thinking about your business more in the infinite game, right? There's the concept of the infinite game and a finite game. A finite game is where it starts and ends. There's a clear winner and a clear loser. Think of football like that. Football, basketball, soccer, baseball. An infinite game, though, is a game that just keeps going and going and going. Sometimes players come in, sometimes players drop out. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. Now, if you approach your business this way and understand this is a game that's just going to keep going year after year after year, and the only thing that could change in this game is this level of skills that you bring to it. This is why practicing all of this stuff is so important. Because when you're competing against people in a limited inventory market, you need to have better presentation skills. You need to have better conversation skills. So let's go through how to effectively role play. Does anyone actually role play now and do this regularly? Okay, so no. All right, rule number one, show up with a specific outcome in mind. You need two people that want to practice the same scenario. Rule number two, make it realistic, make it challenging, don't make it bullshit. Don't show up and say a bunch of stuff that would never happen in real life. You know, the amazing thing about real estate is we all live the same lives. We all have the same job, just in different zip codes. Number three, and some people may not like this, I'm going to say this now. This is not a time to talk about your business, the market, your clients, ask about somebody's kids or anything else. This is a very serious practice session. I don't know if any of you guys follow basketball, but if you look at Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they were not messing around in practice. They weren't goofing around or anything. If you watch the video documentary, The Last Dance, they'll describe Michael Jordan in practice as like working with Satan, in so many other words. He rode people, but that's how they all got so good, right? So if you have role play partners that you're doing this with, and they show up venting about their clients and this and that, and they want to exchange pleasantries for a few minutes in the end. But when you show up, it's like, Jamie, great. What are we talking about? We're going to talk about commission objection. Great. Ring, ring. Hey, how are you? And just get right into it. This is something that needs to be efficient and it needs to be productive for both people. And then rinse and repeat. Some people can do it in groups of 4. Most people do it in groups of 2. I would suggest finding at least 3 role play partners a week. We have a forum that everyone could click a link to, put your name in your scenario, and if you see someone else that likes it, reply to their message and get connected with them. And the goal is then practice it till you have it in mastery. Now, what's mastery? When someone gives you an objection, Catherine, and they smile, right? You know, there's certain times when somebody asks you like, oh, I got him, right? Like, you know, the last agent I met with really wasn't able to really clearly explain to me what kind of deals are in this market. And then you're going to smile, be like, hey, there's only one type of deal. Would you like me to share it with you? Yeah. The only deal you could get is winning a home. Let's discuss how you and your family could do that. Perfect, right? You know, when someone says that you have them, right? When you understand how to answer these questions, it's very simple. You're either going to want to work with the people because you're going to attract the right people that understand you, your service, and the value you bring, or you're going to find people that are transactional people and that are hiring you for how little they can pay you. These people generally are nice and never going to say thank you. They don't value your service. And there are 2 types of people in the world. There are people that are mentally built for this and people that are not mentally built for this. And you need to understand who you are. And then they'll say, I'll just wait. And they'll say, great. And you won't be waiting around for a paycheck. You won't be waiting around for people who call you back for showings. And you won't be wasting your weekends with these people. They're not real. If any human being does not want to know what it takes to win a home in the most competitive market that most people have ever lived through, how serious can you be about finding a home? We're going to regularly be practicing this stuff because I believe this is the difference that makes a difference. And if you look, we had a small group of people that started with us when we launched our company. Thank you, Amanda, during COVID. And there was nothing else to do. I started in the tri-state region. So a lot of our clients were from there. And New York was like one of those lockdown states. And we practice this every single day. I rode every person to do it, but all these people now are converting pitches at 90%. Like they don't ever really lose. They know how to answer the objections. Next week, I have 2 guest sessions. Steve Halperin, who is the first Compass agent in New York City. I'm pretty much at Compass when they switched to a non-salaried model. He's going to share with you how to market a home as a brand. And then Justin Martinez, who I believe was the 3rd person that ever signed up for me. Justin is going to go through role playing, practicing, scripting, and with all of you guys next week. And he pitches a lot of like foreign developers on cold calls, right? So it's really interesting to see other agents and their perspectives and what they're doing. So do we have any questions now about what our mindset needs to be around what we're doing? Now, here's my other question. When you want to get ahead of people, you want to have a competitive advantage in an area where no one else is working, correct? Have you heard anyone else in any of the places you're other going besides this? I don't always assume that I'm the only person. I would love to be, but there are other talented people out there. Is anyone else talking about this right now? No. You want to know why? Because it doesn't sell. No one wants to do sales training, even though we're in a sales business. I call it conversation training. It just sounds a lot more friendlier. All you're doing is talking to people in a way that you'd want people to talk to you. So a lot of people have these names, the knowledge broker, the this broker, the informational specialist, the local specialist, and all. That's really great. Like you could build any brand you want, but in the end of the day, you still have to talk to the water bottle if they're the client to make a paycheck. And that experience that you're giving them is the most important thing. So when someone says something to you that they're unsure about and you become combative, defensive, what kind of experience are you really sending to people? And why would someone want to work with you? All right, so who has a couple scenarios that we want to go through? You can either put your hand up or just hit yes, and we'll role play out these scenarios now just to give people an idea of how to do them. Don't be shy. All right, Mia, you're up.
I had lunch with 2 friends on Friday, and what they love to do is tell me about all these high profile real estate properties that are in their lives that are coming up for sale that are not in my area. And so one's in Hawaii, and she's like an executive director for high wealth individual. And I don't know how to respond because when I'm sitting there, I think the topic becomes real estate because I'm there. So I I chose to ignore it, like just listen to the story and not lunge after it or ask about it or ask if I could help them in any way. And then I went and asked um, another agent for referrals in Hawaii, like so, because I don't know anyone there. So now I'm just questioning how to reapproach it.
Well, the first part is this, right? Number one is don't be afraid of your profession. Don't hide who you are, right? You're a real estate agent, right? If you're talking about finances and their financial planner, they should do it. I don't know why real estate in some way over the last 10 years became a shameful business, right? Where people like are sitting there, they don't want to talk about it, right? Number two, you always want to pre-frame. I'm not sure if this could be helpful, and I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries, right? Like start by pre-framing the weird elephant in the room, right? It's like when you want people to respond to you and you send a video that says, hey, Mia, really appreciate you being present, always asking questions. I just thought of you and just wanted to say that I was grateful for you. I know you're busy, no need to respond. Everyone responds to no need to respond all the time, right? So like when you're speaking with people, You could like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm part of Compass, I have a national network and everything else like that. Like, look, these are business people. Not sure if this could be helpful. Our company just launched an office there. And if you like, do these people work with you?
No, they're just friends.
Have they
They
ever bought and sold real estate with you?
they dangle things in front of me lately in the last 6 months.
Then you need to start biting. Like, if they have no value, listen, once they say like, oh no, we really don't need help, then you don't need to push it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with like an elegant approach.
Simple. You're number one, you're an overthinker. Number two, based on your last Google scenario, you need to know when to say yes and when to say no. Number three, not sure this could be really helpful or not, but most people don't realize is like, I'm actually like a real estate concierge for the entire country. They're gonna be like, what? A real estate concierge for the entire country. What the hell is that? I don't know. I just made it up, but I'll tell you what it is. A real estate concierge, right? When you want something at a hotel, you go there and they find it for you, right? I have a national network of the top brokers in the country, and I help my clients actually relocate all around the country. I call, I interview the people, I understand what's important to them based on their personality and the type of broker looking for them. I actually find it. So they're not looking for random strangers on the internet. I'm able to talk to the local managers, local agents, and then I could work with them as part of the transaction.
Okay.
And some people, and you just say this, look, some people want the service, some people don't, but I figure if it could be helpful to you and a friend of yours, I'm always happy to offer. Sound good? That was a
Sounds
good one.
excellent.
But stop. I'm really happy that she raised her hand. Stop being afraid of who you are and what you do. Just stop. This is who you are. A big part of brand building is being relevant beyond the transaction, right? And it's something we all have to work on. We are all more than the real estate we buy and sell, people. And look, the most successful realtors, Mia, that do this are always talking about it. They're not like afraid of doing it. They're not in like, the Realtor Anonymous program. Because if you don't go after it, they're not going to know you want it. And then you're going to stigmatize yourself into a stigma you don't want. All right, it's time for one more question. Who is the next contestant? Do we have updated sheets for the listing? I have no idea. Jake.
Hi, Chirag. Good seeing you.
Always.
Had a scenario a week ago with a buddy of mine who is selling his place, and he's working with another buddy of his to buy property. But I live in the same community, and he's like, well, I really like to work with you, but he's willing to offer me a really low commission. He's really pushing to try to sell my place. But I'd like to work with you. Can you go find out what the lowest you can actually work with, with me? And I'm such a pussy when it comes to that I'm like, oh, sure, whatever you say. I want to be help you out and whatever I can do,
Great.
Sure,
So you know what? You're going to do
that.
exactly what that is. You can go to your sales manager, right? Mm-hmm. Look, again, this is what I'm going to tell people, and listen here very carefully. This is a business decision that Jake is making, right? You're not ever going to win every commission thing and everything like that. And then sometimes you have to look at the value of the relationship. And look, sometimes I don't see anything wrong with taking less if you understand why you're doing it and what you're doing it for, right? So you'll go to your sales manager. Listen, I have a client doing this. I know the commission is what normally in your office. Is it 4%, 5%, 6%? 6?
Yeah, I mean, preferably 6%, but
yeah,
it's malleable because it has to be.
Yeah, but I'm sure in your market too, you probably have to offer at 2.5% to a buyer's broker. They're not going to show the property.
Well, they're not supposed to, but I tell them 2.8. It's not worth your time. You want to.
Yeah, exactly. So you could just say, look, I'm willing to take blank on my end. I spoke with my manager. They cleared it. If that's something that'll work for you, great. If not, that's the best my company can do. The decision's out of my hands. Will you cut your commission on your end? Listen to me very carefully. No. Do you have any other questions? That's it. No is a full sentence. Period. End of story. right? No, but we do a lot of marketing and I have a great full service. Don't even say any of this. Like, don't even get into that. Don't explain yourself.
Well, thankfully that's what I did. And I
Good.
found that out. So thanks.
All right, perfect. Tomorrow we have live prospecting. On Wednesday, we're going to go through more different scenarios and role playing and practicing, right? On Wednesday, I'm going to put you all in Zoom rooms. This is also great for networking. So look, we have a solid group of 40 to 50 people here. Do not hide from this conversation and not show up on Wednesday. Please don't do that. We all need to learn this together, and we all need to leverage each other. So if you're here and Abby's here and Lynn is here, like, reach out to each other, go into those groups, post in the forum today, and find a partner. I'm going to have my team stay on here now and demo our platform for you. If you're not signed up for our new platform where everything looks nicer, is easier to find, and there's more stuff on there, make sure you sign up today so that you can go on there and post in the accountability forum and find somebody. Sound good? All right. Bye, everybody. Brooke?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. If there is anybody who is unsure how to even get on our platform, Alexa will put our email. Go ahead and email us, and we will send you the registration link. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right. Can everyone see my screen here, the dashboard? Okay. So once you log into our platform, you will land here on the dashboard. From here, there's a couple of things I want to quickly show you. When you have a chance, definitely fill out your profile here. For referral purposes, this is how people, if they wanted to find you, you definitely will add your location where you are. Because if you do a member search, they can search by location, and that'll be easy for referrals. I also put it in my name just, in case. Then you can add your social media, go to edit. And of course, your contact information. If you do your social, you have to do the entire URL. And then this is the most important here, is the city and state to add. So people are able to search you. You can definitely put a bio instead of like a client facing bio that you'd put like on your website or Compass. You can say like where you service, like downtown, or what you specialize in: investment properties, resell, single family homes, and so people can search you. So definitely would do that first. There's also a video here to kind of help you. The next thing, you go to the left-hand toolbar and go to library and GC Accelerator. This is where we're gonna put all of the deliverables, the scripts, the video recordings, audio, everything will be here under Q1, of course. And you click on the session and it will be the recording, and again, the audio and the chat box, and then all the deliverables will also be here, such as the scripts, dialogues, and then we also kind of clipped it for you to see Chirag speak that script, so it'll be a lot easier for you to get. The next thing, the last thing, where I'm going to show you the forms here, go on the left toolbar, go down to community, then go to groups, the first top bar here. If you have not joined, there'll be a little button here that will say join group. So just go ahead and join the group. This is where we will also post a lot of updates, telling you what we have uploaded or status updates of any kind. So go ahead and you can introduce yourself here. The forms that we've been mentioning, you just go to this toolbar right in the top, click forum. And then we are going to have all these forms here. I see Amanda created a role play partner. We do have a role playing forum right here. So you can go ahead and Introduce yourself there, accountability partners, and referral networking. And we do this for the 10 by 10, and it's very successful. Lots of people interact and have connected for referrals. So it's been really great. So really utilize and leverage this because it's a wonderful tool to connect with everybody across the country. So again, when you log in, you're going to be in the dashboard. Do complete your profile. Always include your city and state. The left toolbar library is going to be where all of our deliverables, the recordings from each session, GCI Accelerator, and then the deliverables. And the other important thing is the community and then groups. And what I mentioned, if you wanted to search a member on here, you can search by state here or enter like Naples or whatever you want, and they will pop up there. So that's why it's important to add your city and state. So if you have any other questions, please email us. CSC community is what we will use. So it's csccommunity@chiragshah.com. We'll put that there. And let us know if you run into any issues. But other than that, is there any questions or anything? You can unmute yourself. Okay, if there's no questions, again, just go ahead and email us and we'll be happy to assist. Have a great day, everyone.